today, and I really thank you all for being here on site in TTA, and also for all the friends from online from all over the world. So I'm really happy to present this event to you guys, and I'm Kevin from Sensino, the Startup 101, and this is our event of Bridging Borders to 2023, and for this time, we are connecting the startups from Southeast Asia and all across Asia, actually, with investors in Taiwan for like corporate VC and also VCs as well. So this will be the agenda for today, and we have the openings, and there's two main sections. So the first one will be the fireside chat, that we have excellent lineups from corporates, and they'll be sharing their insights about corporate startup engagements and also strategic investments, and their experience and any thought leaderships. And the second part will be the star pitch that we have invited. Well, actually, we let more than dozens of startups to register and apply for the pitch events, and they will be sharing their business innovation and their ideas to hear to all the investors in Taiwan. So the purpose of this event is actually trying to connect the investors here with all the innovative ideas all across the world. And so this will be our lineup, and we'll be introducing our moderator, the CEO of Startup 101, Kemi Liu, and Hank Lee from Avantech, and also Steve Pan from UMC Capital. And the second part, I want to share a little bit about the lineups for our star pitch, because I think within a few months of preparation, we got a really impressive results, and I would like to share that with you guys. So we actually have more registration from more than 10 countries, and all combined together for all those startups together, they are actually raising more than $100 million US. So we are having a really competitive registration, and we are really happy to show some of them to you, and unfortunately we are unable to show every of them to you guys. But I guarantee you guys, they are amazing, and hopefully you guys will find something from the star pitch as well. And for these startups, they are actually more focused on AI applications, and mostly for applications with, for example, IoTs or other B2B solutions as well. And they are mostly pre-A to A series startups, so they are relatively early stages. So, and in my personal opinions, they are actually the most innovative entrepreneurs, and that's really exciting to see their lineups. And we are really proud, and we're really grateful for all the supports from our partners, including TTA. We also have the director here with us today, and also a lot of startup accelerators, and also innovation ecosystem players around the globe, including the BSSC, the Business Startup Support Center from Vietnam, and also JDI from, actually, they have multiple operations all across Southeast Asia. So we actually have support from all over the Southeast Asia, so we are really happy for that. So before we jump into our main events today, I want to take a few moments to introduce a little bit about Startup 101 and also Sensino Venture Group. So for Sensino Venture Group, we are actually one of the most, we're actually a 30-year venture capital here based in Taipei. So we are really experienced in investing in early stage startups as well as the later stage as well. But in 2020, we actually launched a new brand called Startup 101. So Startup 101 is currently the biggest investment platform for startups in Taiwan. And we're really proud for all these achievements within just a few years. And for Startup 101, so for Sensino Venture Group, we have more than 30 years of experience, so we actually have collaborated with multiple stakeholders, including national development funds like governments, and as well as other corporates as well. And now we are actually collaborating with corporates and also multiple different kinds of investors to provide corporate startup engagement service and as well as investment marketplace, the Star 101 websites. So we actually have a website called star101.biz, so feel free to check it out and register for your innovative ideas, or for investors, you can definitely go on and check some of the interesting startups that you can find. And we are led by Kemi Liu, our CEO, and also Vincent Wang, the chairman of the entire Sensino Venture Group. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so some of the highlights for the platform. Now we actually have more than 1,900 of startups listed on our platform, and we have more than 900, almost 1,000 investors actually. And since Startup 101 is an open platform for the users, including investors or startups or anyone who is interested in entrepreneurship, they can interact with each other. So we have more than 1,000 interactions on a very short period of time. And through our platform, we actually supported more than $100 million being raised throughout the platform. And we supported more than 300 deal flows, and in general, we facilitate investments over $500 million. And these are some of the highlights of our portfolios, as well as the companies that raise money from our platform. So I want to introduce a special guest from our side, Dr. Joe from Omni Eyes. Omni Eyes is actually one of the portfolio company of Sensino Venture Group, as well as the user for Star 101 platforms. And we want to share about the perspective from the entrepreneurs. So, Dr. Joe, yeah. So let's have a warm welcome to Dr. Joe and let him introduce about his companies.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. I am Ting, co-founder and CEO of Omni Eyes. So Omni Eyes was founded 4 years ago, so we are a little bit more than 4 years old. We work on AI, so we have a lot of overlapping between Omni Eyes and the startups today. And we have, like we just introduced, Sensino is one of our investors. And among others, we have Fubon, which is one of the largest financial holding company in Taiwan. It is actually our first investors. And we also have Wistron, which is the leading international company to manufacture smartphones, PC, cloud server, along with DARI and the National Development Fund. Right now, we have 35 employees, full-time employees. And we closed our pre-A round 3 years ago, and then A round at the end of 2022. So we are now near the end of our pre-A round objectives. So we will start our B round or A+ round pretty much in the early next year. So I would like to give a very quick introduction of my company. We are working on Edge AI and video analytics. So using these solutions, we can provide commercial fleets owner to manage their fleets in a totally different way. For example, right now, the fleet owners, they can only rely on GPS or some very simple sensors to monitor their drivers. But by using Edge AI and video analytics, we can monitor very comprehensive behavior of the drivers, such as red light running, rolling stops, which is very important, not just in Taiwan, but in all of the country around the world. Okay, and we are a SaaS company. So basically, we charge our customers based on the number of vehicles on a monthly basis. And but unlike the pure SaaS software companies, like some of the startups today, we need hardwares because AI needs hardwares to work, right? And we are edge AI company. That means we don't send data back to the cloud. So our work involves a lot of software and hardware integration to deliver a total solution. And that's one of our challenges. And we have quite a few major accounts in Taiwan and also in one of the South Asia, maybe not Southeast Asia. So the largest logistic company in the world, DHL, is our customers in India. We start our cooperation with them in the early 2022. So after more than 1 year effort, we finally nailed down the deal, and then it becomes our major customers in Southeast or South Asia region this year. That's weird.
Maybe you can stand
Here?
over here, like around this corner, so it's better.
Over here.
This. That would be, and you can.
Sorry. Oh. 哪一个是往前，哪一个是往后？ Okay, sorry, my mistake. We got quite a few awards, CES, AWS Joint Innovation Awards, and also this year the top 10 AI companies for B2B business. Okay, like I said, we are based in Taiwan, but like many other startups, right? Taiwan is a very small country, okay? And there's no way that this small market can support our long-term or large-scale growth. So we need to go out. So our first, like I said, our first major milestones in the global market is DHL in India. And we would like to follow this key account and enter the Southeast Asia countries, which is a fast-growing region from our perspectives. And also, we also have the one of the key accounts starting this year in the United States. This is our footprint right now, and we expect to duplicate our customers in these regions, as long as the markets in Japan. Okay, so this is my brief introduction of the companies. And one of the topics that I was asked to share today is the challenges in terms of capital fundings for a startup. So to me, there are 4 key challenges or steps in fundraising from a startup's perspective. There's actually an angel round over here, but I skip it because I'm a professor, so my angel fund is from government, which I believe is not applicable to most of you, so I just skip that part. Okay, so I will start with my pre-A round. So this is, pre-A round is a very early round for most of the startups. It's the same thing to me as well. My experience is there's no standard way to get the pre-A round funding. I don't see any standard or general way to get it. It's, to me, okay, it's really by chance. Okay, I happen to know a friend, and she introduced me to her friend, and this friend has a very wealthy person, right? And then that person is interested in my solution, and then boom, I got 1.5 million US dollars as my pre-A round. So the takeaway here is you really have to talk to a lot of people in this early stage, because at that time I had sort of product, okay, or product type. I don't have any customers, right? So it's really, like I said, I don't know how I have a unified way for you to convince your investor in this early stage. So my best advice is to talk to a lot of people, and with a very small probability, you will bump into a very wealthy person or very wealthy organization. That's my experience, the true experience for myself. Okay, but it's a different story for A round. To me, I think A round has some standard way to get it. Okay, I think that maybe some of you are right at this stage of A round. To me, there are some key factors that you have to check by yourself, right? So for me, you have to get first a key account, okay? Maybe not the size, but the importance in the markets that you target. This is very important. So within 1 year, I get one major key account in Taiwan, which is one of the largest logistic fleets in Taiwan. So by acquiring that customers, some of our futures at that time, some of our future customers believe that my solution is really, really valuable in this market, in this region. So if you can get, at least in my experience, if you can get one key account in the area that you target, you pretty much will have a very good chance to get your A round funding. Okay, that's, to me, this is very important. And then, what do you have to do in your A round? Okay, I think a lot of people should already know. I attend a lot of seminars like this one, right? I was there, like you are right now. Okay, and there are million ways to fail, right? And because there are so many ways, right? So it's very likely that you will step into a few of them and then you fail, right? But there's only one way to succeed. And unfortunately, you cannot repeat that because each company has its own story, right? So, but I believe for you to be successful from A to B, you really have to duplicate your successful stories. Okay, I think that's the only way. You may need to do it within B round, C round, but you really have to prepare it at your A round, or I mean, the end of your A round. Okay. To me, how did I do it? Right. So I first look at my home market, Taiwan, right, and then I try to identify more key accounts in this area, right. So we did that. Okay. So our customers, the number of our customers increased from 1, the key account, to 6 this year, right. So this proved to our investors that the reason you get the key account is not a coincidence, right? It's not accident. There's a systematic way that this company, OmniEyes, can do to acquire more customers, right? So this is very important to duplicate, right? The next thing is because Southeast Asia is a very big country, right? So once you are successful in that area, there are many countries nearby for you to flourish, right? But this is not the case in Taiwan. Okay, I believe I see a lot of fresh faces here in Taiwan. So I think for A round to B round for me, right? I really have to target in the international markets, right? But there are so many international targets, right? It's very lucky that some of our investors have connections in some of the regions that we are targeting, right? So we successfully go to the Southeast Asia, and also we are connected to the United States clients. So to summarize what I try to share, work with your investors, right? And then try to explore different opportunities in different regions so that you can expedite or accelerate or to duplicate your successful cases, right? And then you should be in a pretty good shape to get to your B round and beyond. Okay, and of course, if you can do that and survive, of course, IPO will be on the horizon. Okay. Okay, so what is our next step? I already repeated that many times. I'm sorry, I have problem with this remote. Okay, so like I just mentioned, we have a lot of key accounts, which are some of the largest companies in Taiwan already. And we would like to follow our key account and then start to enter the Southeast Asia countries. I know there are a lot of investors and also startups in Southeast Asia. So we are very open to cooperate or partner, have partnership with both startups and VCs over there. And hopefully we will have a footprint in the United States starting in this year. Okay, so I will finish my sharing here. I don't know if I can take questions, but in any case, if you have any question, you can try to contact me using email or we can discuss offline. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Zhou. So I think Dr. Zhou mentioned two critical elements. The first one is fundraising. It is hard and it is actually the mission and the vision that Star 101 trying to tackle. We want to facilitate the fundraising process and help people and help startups and entrepreneurs to raise money more easily. And the second part is to build up successful partnership, including with other startups as well as with corporates. So it actually led to the topics for our fireside chat coming up. We invite two esteemed panelists actually to share about their perspective in corporates and how they vision and also their experience in working with startups and helping the startups to grow their own businesses. So for our fireside chat, we actually have a QR code you can see from here, and also from that for right side, you can find the QR code for the slido.com. So we can take questions from the QR code. You can just type in anything that you want to ask, and in the end of the fireside chat, we would invite our panelists and also the moderator to answer the questions of any of you guys. So of course, including the participant from online, you guys can also provide your question through Slido as well.
Okay, so good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the exciting Fire Chat side chat session. My name is Camille. I am the CEO of Star 101 platform. I'm also the partner of Samsino Venture Group. So today we have two guests with me, which is Hank Lee from Advantech, and also the Steve Pan from UNC Capital. So both of them is going to share all of their experiences and their thoughts about how open innovation is going to be, and they are going to share some of the ideas or the future trends about how their companies are going to collaborate with the startups in the future. Okay, so let's welcome the guests. So give a warm applause to them. Okay, thank you. Okay. So let's start by the introducing themselves. So I'm sure that Advantech and UMC is a well-known brand in Taiwan. So let's start from Hank from Advantech. Could you please introduce yourself quickly, and maybe not just yourself, maybe your team as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and welcome all of you. I'm Hank. I'm wearing a hat of Director of Emerging Business Development in CEO office at Advantech. Okay, what is Advantech all about? Advantech is we are not like a typical technology firm as you imagine. Actually, what Advantech do is the all behind the scene. The superheroes. For example, behind the transportation, in the manufacturing, everything can go running is enabled by Advantech products. So, make it brief, we make the industrial computer. So, but the problem is that we are in Taiwan. The most important and most strong industries are hardware. So what we are doing, our team, is to explore more possibility or more potential opportunities for hardware company. I think if you have any experience working with a hardware company, you will find that it's very difficult to deal with those tough guys. They are stubborn. Their mindset is completely different from software guys. I believe all of you are software guys. Yeah. So my job is very, very diversified. I need to find the software guys like Dr. Zhong, and I need to bring it back to our team, those hardware guys, and ask them to sit together and discuss. You know, it's very, very difficult. And we need to arrange everything, settle up everything. So if you think emerging business is a kind of fancy job, then you are wrong. Actually, my job is a dirty job. Yeah, so this is what I'm doing. Okay, yeah.
Then Steve Pan, could you please give us an introduction about you and your team as well? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Cami, for having me. So I'm Steve Pan. I represent UMC Capital. For those of you who don't know, UMC Capital is a CVC firm of UMC Group. UMC Group is one of the largest few wafer manufacturers globally. Our fund actually initially, early on, was a BU within the UMC Group. So we started out as a BU investment team within UMC, and we were spun out in the early 2000s. So now we're UMC Capital. We're the fully owned subsidiary of UMC Group. And we do a lot of deep technology investments worldwide. I manage our international deals. We do investments in Taiwan, in Greater Asia, including China, Korea, Japan. We also have done investments in Israel and US. So we look at a broad depth of different types of companies, ranging from pure semiconductors, battery materials, to space payloads, to ag tech, and everything in between. I also manage a lot of our SaaS portfolio in the US. So that also has to do with today's fireside chat. In terms of how we work with sort of the UMC Group side, there's a lot of, let's say, luck, I would call it. Actually, it's a lot of luck. We can say that it's all due to us working very hard behind the scenes, or having some great technology out there that can really benefit the corporate side. But actually, all it comes down to is a lot of luck, being at the right place at the right time with the right technology. Working with corporates, it's always, I think a lot of it, you have to manage expectations. You might have the best technology in the world, but the corporate side might say, hey, this is something way too advanced, or this doesn't fit what we need. A startup might have things that can fulfill A, B, C, whereas the corporate might want something that does D, E, F. So it's always about managing expectations. How do you find the right fit, right partner to work with? And at the end of the day, you have to have the right thing at the right time and a lot of luck to really succeed and work with the corporate side. But in terms of us, our investment strategy isn't always through just for the corporate side. Mainly, our motivation is still financially oriented. So we need to see that a company can really scale and to make money. Corporate side can help our portfolio companies to scale even faster, even quicker, but that's not always a mandate. So we try to thread the needle sometimes and find the right match, right fit with us. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Steve. Okay, so let me move on to our first questions. The first one is about the definition about open innovations. Okay, so Hank, could you give us some of your ideas, your own definitions about open innovation and the primary benefit?
Before I come in here, I keep asking myself that when the startups becomes special terms and relevant to innovations, this is very interesting questions because I remember that in my first job, I work for my one of my friends' family company. It's a very low end doing machinery. Yeah, it's robotic, but it's 3-axis robotic. Just go into a machine and pick up something and put outside. That time, from the point of view, from now, look back at the job, it was a very low-end sales and very low-end technology. But if we put it back to the environment about 1970s, it's high-tech. And my friend's father was the founder. He called him as a founder, but not startup or startup founders. So what's the difference between the 1970s founders and the startup founders? What's the difference between their innovation? Why we have this event, but not happened in 1970s? This is a very interesting question. So, because this question is very important, because when I ask myself that, does the corporate need to find a startup to bring innovations to the corporate? Do you really give us value? Or more directly, do we need you to give us value? How much you know the corporate? Each corporate are different. UMC, Advantech, Westron, Google, Microsoft, everybody is different. Their strategy, what they want, who is dealing with you guys are different. So when I ask this question, I found that startups right now becomes very important, not because of innovation, but because this ecosystem. You need funds, you need money. We have money, but we don't have talents. We cannot reach the market you can reach. Why? Because right now, the economic environment becomes very, very, very extremely diversified. The mass production market is gone, it's passed away. Mobile, you can manufacture billions, 10 billions. But right now, average device, maybe it's thousands or hundreds. This is the situation right now. So there is no any corporate can handle the technology for each personalized or customized service to reach his customer. This is very important. So I don't think there's any difference between 1970s founders and you guys. You are the bravest guys in the world because you take the risk. We don't. We are the sheep. You are the wolf. You, wolf, have to lead the sheep go to the right directions. This is the value. So if you ask me why I'm here, because I try to deliver one message that how to make the synergy between the sheep, but maybe 40 years back, he's a wolf, and the wolf right now. How to bridge the gap, bridge the generation gap. It's very important. So we need to come back to the essence, the business value. You have to find out your business value for the giants. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Hank. So also, Steve, could you share some of your ideas about the open innovations and maybe what's the primary benefits that might be able to provide to the UMC group?
Yeah, so this question is actually a pretty deep question because open innovation can be a lot of things, right? It can mean something to me, it can mean something totally different to Hank or to any one of you guys, right? So you might think open innovation is building the best new technology that can be sustainable, be innovative, or build a better world. That could be open innovation, right? For us, we look at different things and how do you balance innovation? How do you innovate within and innovate from outside? So startups that work with us that are sort of more strategic, we build them, we try to bring them in-house into the corporate sort of ecosystem that UMC has. And we try to help them out in terms of both gaining customer traction or even to help our internal teams learn different things from the outside. So you might bring something that is totally new, let's say a chiplet solution that nobody has, or a innovative new material that it can be 10x, 20x, 100x better than what is used today. And we try to bridge both sides, right? Something that can really help out the corporate might actually not be something that is very valuable for us to do investment because it's something that doesn't really scale. So we try to look at from all different angles, how do we try to win from all sides? How do we help you as a portfolio or as a company that we're looking into to win in terms of both customer or innovate further? And how do we help our BU win in terms of maybe learning some new things or adopting some of what you have as a technology? And how do we also win to build a bigger company if we're investing into you? So it can vary a lot of the times. But we try to find the best new things that can help us and help the internal team to become even better.
Okay, thank you, Steve. So here's the second question. What are the most common challenges and hurdles that you might face when you are doing the open innovation or like corporate startup engagement? Okay, so this question goes to Hank first. Maybe you can share your ideas.
As I said, the most important is the business value. But the business value always comes from the people. So in most of the case, I've seen that when we work with some so-called startups, or we call it small SMEs, small medium-sized companies, we found that the main challenge is the culture, because your culture is to explore, but in corporate, our culture is to generate a revenue. Immediate revenue. This is a very different in the two poles of the spectrum. So when you are explore, you cannot. Of course, the immediate return is very important for you. Yeah, but more possibly you are looking for the future. You are looking for the future return, but in the corporate, each product team, each BU, they are demanded by their annual goals. And they are driven by their way of culture, way of doing things, the process, the SOP. Yeah, but you are wild. You can do everything you want to do. So this is in a very different ways. So always the culture is and doing the things is the big challenge. Yeah, of course we can see different varieties in just like in maybe in different countries, in different companies. Their investment, they have different goals, so they can allow some tolerance, allow different culture, different team to working together. But from my perspective, in Advantech, we are looking for we are more focusing on some companies who can work together immediately. Yeah, so which means that we have to know each other we have mutual understanding. We have know each other very, very transparently, but it's very difficult, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Hank. And also, Steve, could you give us some ideas about how you think of like common challenges and hurdles when the big company is doing the open innovations or CSEs?
Yeah, I think it goes back to sort of what the starting opening, right? It's about managing expectations, right? If a corporate invests in you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they will use your solution. People might think that's a badge of honor with these different big names invested in you, but that doesn't always mean that there's going to be a successful combination of the two, right? So that's the first thing. And the second thing would be we can help you open different doors. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the corporate side of our company. It can be a corporate side of any of our friends, let's say Advantech or Wistron or another big name that's out there, right? So we try to help out as much as we can. We try not to mess up the company too much and mess with the company founders too much. That's what we try to do. We let the founders do their magic. But of course, when we see things that we've seen in different multiple startups that have failed, like, hey, this is something that you might need to watch out. That is something that you might need to look out for. Or these are some of the corporate guys that you need to know that have the say. It's like selling a SaaS, right? You're selling a SaaS. You have your solution guy, you have your sales guy, your sales rep. The sales rep has someone internally in a big corporate that's their champion. So you need a champion in the corporate to also sponsor, to help you out, in order to try to win the deal, right? So, but it doesn't always happen. There's always, you spend a lot of time whining and dining all these different guys, but in the end of the day, it might not come to an actual sale. But that's just the nature of the business, right? So things don't always work out. Where corporates help, we try to help out wherever we can, but don't expect everything to work out as smoothly as you think it can be. So that's sort of the thing. And then if a startup becomes like a large unicorn, they don't really want to work with us either. So there's always a trade-off as well. When you're small, we don't think you're big enough. And then when you're too big, you think we're too small. So there's always those things of dynamics that plays a role in this business, right? So. There's always a push and a pull from both sides. So just try to manage your expectations, work and try to fulfill most of, if you can, some of the requirements that the corporates may need, and they'll try to help you out as much as possible.
Okay, thank you, Steve. So I need to push the schedule a little bit quickly, so I'm going to combine the next two questions together. So, okay, so maybe Hank can give us some successful examples about to create innovative solutions between Advantech and also startups, and also your ideas about the future trend of the CSE.
Okay, yeah, one of the example I can recall back is that we incubate an ISV in India, and they develop some medical detecting algorithm. Okay, but in the beginning it's very, very early stage. We don't expect they can grow But however, they started to their business since 2 years back, and they built up their channel, their key accounts. So they attracted our attention, and we started to put them as our channels. And we found that, when they bring our device and we started to collaborate with them in terms of R&D, they can optimize their algorithm on our device. And then gradually they gain some key accounts in India. Then we started to invest them. We started to discuss about joint venture. So right now we have a major share of them, and the business is getting very success. This is one of the example I can recall. Yeah, I can share. So in terms of the future of the trend, I would say in Advantech, I can only talk about Advantech. We were still trying to explore more similar case that who can bring the real business with us, not in the short term, but in the middle term at least. Yeah, we would like to align those startups who are more relevant to us. So if you would like to work with Advantech, well, welcome. But you need to understand who we are, what we are doing, and you can help us to pitch into a whole new world. So you can help us lead us to go to some market we cannot reach. It's the most welcome. If not, then it's more difficult. But this is an Advantech case because we are more focusing on the immediate business. Maybe we are short sight, not like UMC or not like Westrom, but the most important is that you need to understand those corporations. What's their characteristic? What's their features? What's their strategy? This is most important for you.
Okay, thank you, Hank, for giving us such a great ideas about how you think of the future trend and also the great examples. And to you, Steve, could you give us some of the successful examples and also the future trend about about how you think of the CSEs and from UMC perspective? Thank you.
Yeah, so one of our portfolio companies, Hyperlight, they're a semiconductor-based company. They do something called thin film lithium niobate, which is a special material used for optoelectronics. So it's a modulator company. So they started out as a startup from Harvard, spun out. And they worked in the Harvard lab facilities and then came to us. So we brought them to one of our subsidiaries, WaveTech, and now they're actually doing a lot of work with WaveTech. And they're successfully mass manufacturing. And this technology goes into some of the top optics companies such as the Sienna or the Fujitsu's of the world, which does sort of the long-haul telecommunications stuff. They also can go into quantum. They can also go into, let's say, AI chips. And the thing is that this started out sort of naturally because, first of all, thin film lithium niobate is sort of a new material. It's not mass manufactured in any fab. And WaveTech actually was looking to do some new solutions and found that this was actually very interesting to them. So we also had an internal champion within Wistron. And so we bridged both sides and worked out something. And now we're in more talks to do deeper collaborations for longer term future things, which I can't really disclose right now. But all in all, it's a very successful marriage of the both. And it's been pretty fruitful for both sides because both can learn from one another. And in terms of how I look at sort of the future, I think for us, since we're sort of a subsidiary, not a sort of a pure CVCBU, we can actually look at things that are non-really strategic to invest in. We'd like to look at different innovative solutions out there, and as long as it has some sort of a workable business model out there, we can do investment in it. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that works specifically with UMC. In fact, a lot of our portfolio companies work with some of our biggest competitors out there, and we're okay with that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Steve. So I think that's all the question that I have today, but I do believe that our guest already asked some questions on the Slido. So Kevin is going to help to provide the question to both of you, and maybe you can help to answer. So Kevin, please go on.
So one of our attendants is asking, how do you guys think of the energy or the ecosystem or the innovative ideas that Taiwanese startup ecosystem have compares to other regions around the globe?
So maybe you can start with Steve this time.
Yeah, so looking at startups globally, right? So UMC has a heritage in sort of innovation and startup. A lot of the companies in Taiwan actually either came out of UMC or spun out of UMC or was invested by UMC in the past. So we have a deep history in innovation. And in terms of how I look at sort of internationally, like how startups differ, right? So in Taiwan, a lot of our startups look at a technology. They start out with a technology first mentality. This technology is going to be the best in the world. It's going to be top tier. It's going to be 100% better than everyone else out there. That's sort of our mentality. It's more of a chip mentality. We look at these things from the very micro level, right? Then we go to somewhere like Israel to look at a problem from a solution or a system or a platform level. So we're not going to have maybe the best technology in the world. They say they have the best technology in the world, but sometimes it's not. But they look at it from a solution level, and then they can go to these big Fortune 500 companies and sell to them because they have actually a full solution. Whereas we in Taiwan, we have a smaller, we only sell the chipset. So we're in the lower tiers of their entire ecosystem of players. So they can make the big bucks, we make the smaller bucks, and we try to bridge all of that together, right? We try to help our Taiwanese founders, like, hey, how do we think bigger? How do we go out? How do we get to these big customers? And startup mentalities in China, they might not have sort of the best technology, but they have the best, I would say, business models standpoint. They work very fast in getting business, and how do you actually make this? How do you sell this solution to one of their customers? So they move very fast in that perspective. In US, a lot of it is more SaaS-based, right? So it's about how do we build a new tool to support these different companies, and how do they buy us more, use more? Let's land and expand. That's sort of the playbook in the US. So different locations have different types of mentalities and different types of ways to go to market. But ultimately, startups are trying to succeed, right? It's a tough market, but if you can win, then you can win big.
Okay, thank you, Steve. So move on to Hank. Maybe you can share your ideas too.
I just try to put it pretty short. I think that this advantage of Taiwanese startup is that we always said that we need to stand in Taiwan, but make a global scale. But to be honest, it's very difficult, and it's a main challenge for a Taiwanese company, because as a startup, you always have to struggle in between the real business, survive, and your business scope, right? So you need to take all kinds of different project or business opportunities in terms of the kinds of requirement. Each requirement are very unique, so you need to spend your resource in each project. However, when we consider the global scale, many of the times we found that what we are doing is against the global scale. It's difficult. So when I talk to many of the Taiwanese startups, they always told me, I also asked them that, how can you lead us to go to this global? How can I deploy your solution to global, overseas? How can you help our sales to sell your solution to overseas? Can you support our overseas clients? The answer is always no. So this is the advantage of Taiwanese startups. So if you ask me the ecosystem or the feature of the Taiwanese environment. I would say it's how to overcome this challenge is very important. But considering to overseas, like in US or right now we are exploring the opportunities in India, it's completely different. Just as I think Stephen is talking about many experience, sharing many experience about this. So yeah, this is my perspective.
Hank, so maybe.
So there's another questions about how would startups from Southeast Asia specifically, how would you envision they can tap on the capacities of the corporates in Taiwan or the innovation ecosystem in Taiwan, and given that they are in such an emerging markets?
We start with Steve as well. Okay.
I think that the answer to that question is pretty easy. Like, come to us, then we'll find out, right?
Okay, so just Steve need to leave his emails, and then we'll try to bridge you guys with UMC Capitals, and also maybe Hank, could you share your ideas?
The relationship with between Taiwan and the Southeast Asia countries getting more and tighter and tighter. Yeah, so the talents exchange and funding capitals, I think there are lots of opportunities over there, and also there are Taiwanese company their footprints are spreading all the Southeast Asia. So yeah, just come to us and we can discuss. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Hank. I think today I can make a small conclusion here, because as a platform, at Start 101, what we are trying to do is we are trying to make a platform to help the investors, not only angel investors, but also CVCs or VCs, to integrate or to have the communications with the startups, and maybe they can and the startup will be able to share their ideas, technologies, fundraising plans through the platform in order to engage with the potential investors, or trying to have some POC solutions or POCs opportunities with the potential investors. And also maybe you can get some advices and or not just advices, and maybe some experience sharing through the platform, and you will be able to know what your startups or what your business is going to evolve or is going to solve. So I think that's my conclusion here. So I would like to say thank you to the two panelists. It's really very energetic communications here, because I learned a lot myself. It doesn't a very long conversations, but it do give me a lot of ideas. Now I know how to deal with Advantech and also UNC Capitals. I'm now an expert with communicating with the potential customers. Okay, so
thank you for the panelists and the entire fireside chat. And I want to take a moment and to take a group photo with the attendants, both online and offline. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being so energetic in interactions, and I'm happy to see that. And I would like to showcase to you guys the amazing lineup for startups that we recruit from all across Southeast Asia. So please take a seat. Okay, I will make a short introduction for the startups pitch session. So there will be only a 5 minutes pitch for each startups, and there will be 2 minutes Q&A. So feel free to scan on the Slido and leave your questions here or to the startups, and then we will make the Q&A sessions after the entire pitch altogether. So our first team from Rescale Lab is ready. So let's begin.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me? It's good? All right, so I'm Gus. I'm the founder of Rescale Lab. And Rescale Lab captures the learning effectiveness beyond the classroom. So most of the teachings today take place in traditional classrooms, as we know, or on e-learning platforms, which relies heavily on exams and quizzes, especially because they want to assess how students are learning. But actual learning does not take place in those traditional environments. Real learning actually happens outside of the classroom when students are solving problems, collaborating, communicating, and actually applying skills that are needed for the real world settings. And this is where educators have no visibility on actual student performance. Why is this a problem? Well, because students forget 85% of teachings within the first 3 months. And until now, there has been no solutions in the market that is able to capture real learnings that happens outside of the traditional teaching environments, which constitute to 98% of what is today a 500 billion global learning market. And that does not use technology. And so we built a one-stop platform to bridge closer the learning gaps between educators and students, enabling educators to transform low-touch curriculums into high collaboration and results-oriented learning experiences for their students. We capture and measure learning progress and collect large amount of data, both from the educators' teachings as well as the students' working engagement, all in real time. And so all of that data actually gets to be fed into our proprietary AI algorithm to empower our partner educators with the ability to create innovative curriculums and optimal teaching content, as well as provide students with knowledge that is gathered from the entire internet at their fingertips. Currently, we offer to our B2B training institutions customers various subscription plans that are based on the cohort size, the duration, and the frequency of their programs. And we closed last year with almost 600,000 in revenue, serving renowned institutions across Southeast Asia. We've been growing around 2.5 times year on year. We've retained more than 85% of our customer base going forward this year and achieving a break even over the past 2 years. Many of our current clients are in higher learning institutions, adult training, and research-backed venture commercialization. And so our immediate market is a 1.6 billion SOM, and especially because we're serving university and training providers. However, our long-term business potential taps beyond the training sector, as we believe that talent data actually cuts across education, workforce, training, and recruitment. And these three markets combined means that we'll be gearing our technology and services towards becoming a skill enablement marketplace. Our closest competitors are based out of Australia and North America mainly, and there's no direct competition in Asia. However, the real competition for us entering into new markets will be the tools that our customers are actually using today. Typically a combination of fragmented productivity tools like Excel sheets, Slack, Dropbox, and a lot of email and WhatsApp chasing after students reporting. We are a bootstrap startup. We've received more than 250,000 from various grants and competitions that we've won, as well as participated in renowned accelerators for expansion purposes. And we are currently looking actively for 1 million in additional funding to expand into new target markets through franchising and licensing of our technology platform solution. So I've been working and developing this startup for the past 7 years. I've been a lead instructor and facilitator for high-touch experience programs in universities and corporate training, as well as research institutions across Southeast Asia. And as a team, we have over 50 years of combined experience in business and technology development. And we are guided by 2 business advisors who have had done 40 years of work in university training and corporate talent development. So once again, thank you very much. Rescale Lab enables educators and students to capture learning effectiveness beyond the classroom. And I'm ready to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Gustav from Singapore. And I actually have a few questions, and one of them is for your go-to-market strategy. So how would you prioritize your market over the entire APAC?
So we've entered in Singapore, and a lot of our collaborations and partnerships have been established around Southeast Asia already. Our second market that we entered was Vietnam, And last year, we literally just went to Taiwan. One of the key strategies that we go into is that we don't always go in there just by ourselves and start setting up office in the local market. In fact, we start collaborating, identifying key partners that already have a segmented relationship, long-standing relationship with universities, large corporate training institutions. And by offering our solutions and technology to them, allows us to get into their customer base much faster by powering their capabilities.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Gustav, and for the Rescale Lab. And if anyone is interested in any of the startups today, feel free to contact Star 101. We can redirect their information to you. And let's get ready for the next team. And another reminder for any one of you, if you have any questions, just feel free to scan on the Slido next to you and leave your questions there. And let's welcome the second team.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have been selected and given this opportunity to present in front of this distinguished audience. We are an electric mobility startup. We are based out of Philippines, and we are building connected and affordable urban mobility solutions, catering to last mile movement of people and goods through purpose-built e-bikes, IoT, and tech stack. Our target market is really people who are trying to make a living. So bottom of the pyramid customer segment. And we are doing this because we want to help improve their quality of life and provide them with a viable alternate transportation option. My name is Mohit. I'm the founder and CEO of Rish Electromobility. Along with me today on the call is Venkat, who's the co-founder and CTO. And we have a small team of developers, all based out of India, along with Venkat. I myself am based in Philippines, which will be our commercial launch market. So what are we trying to solve? I think the primary reason we started working on Rish is because we wanted to address the gaps in the last mile intracity transportation, and currently available options are inefficient in terms of cost, environmental impact, equality and accessibility, health and safety, and use of infrastructure. How are we trying to solve this? And this is something that distinguishes us from our competitors, is we are marrying the best-in-class hardware, software, and ancillary services to provide a complete ecosystem of solution to our customers. So this includes your hardware, which is the purpose-built e-bikes, IoT, insurance services, repair and maintenance, and of course, online platforms, payments, all integrated into one easily affordable subscribe to own option. With subscribe to own option, let me clarify, we are not into rental model. We intend to drive ownership, but breaking the acquisition cost into bite-sized pieces, so it becomes easily affordable for the bottom of the pyramid customer segment that we are targeting. This is just a snapshot of our prototype that we have been testing for the last few months. It's purpose-built for the Philippines and Southeast Asian market, designed and developed by us in-house, and multi-utility form factor, which can not just do commercial applications like last mile transportation of food, groceries, etc., but also personal use cases like commuting to work, running errands over weekends, etc. What helps us move forward on this journey is this connected mobility solution that we are designing. So this is a smart lock that we have developed and designed in-house, which not only is a safety feature, but also a telemetry device transmitting data real time on the back end and into the mobile application of the users. Just some snapshots of all the work that we have done and the tech stack that we have developed. Our business model and customer segments is primarily B2C and B2B. On the B2C front, we are targeting platform workers, commuters, and people who are looking for livelihood opportunities. And on the B2C front, we are looking at organizations who could offer this as a benefit, employee benefit to their employees as well as SMEs who can use mobility to open up new opportunities for themselves. We are looking at two options: subscribe to own and also outright purchase. Our go-to-market approach is basically in the beginning D2C, but eventually we would like to take an omni-channel approach. And really the values for us is affordability, sustainability, tech innovation, and localization based on the markets that we will be present. So far, we have signed 2 MOUs. One is with Foodpanda Philippines and one with a logistics company. We have done extensive trials with them and have received good feedback. We continue to do a lot of trials as we speak, and the feedback from customers has been very, very encouraging so far. This is just the initial traction that we have so far. We are still pre-launch, and the objective for us is really to not just limit ourselves to Philippines, but also the broader Southeast Asian ecosystem, and develop a lot of components in-house, given our strength in electronics, hardware design, software design, especially related to navigation, fleet management, and stuff. And that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. So there's one question from the audience that why can you explain why Foodpanda and Go21 would choose your solutions over the others?
Okay, 3 reasons. One is cost. Compared to internal combustion engine options today, our calculations show that you can easily save between 30 to 40% of operational expenses over the life cycle of the asset. So, which translates into huge savings for a gig worker. It may not be too big for people like us, but for gig workers who are earning minimum wage, it translates into huge savings on a monthly basis. Number 2, I think all these platforms and institutions are under increasing pressure to also look at net zero options in their operations, whether it's related to mobility, whether it's related to packaging, operations. So all of these institutions are today looking at options which would help them improve their operations and make it more sustainable. And number 3, of course, is everybody wants to, I think, do something for the environment. Although the economic advantages outweigh the environmental advantages, but especially for B2B customers, I think environmental advantages are becoming increasingly important, and so everybody is thinking about sustainability and how do they reduce their carbon footprint. So I think that is prompting a lot of institutions that we have been speaking to look at options which are sustainable, eco-friendly, and present them in good light in front of their customers and stakeholders.
Okay, thank you, Mohit and Rich Electromobilities. And we will let our third team to be ready for the presentation. And feel free to present your slide anytime.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for Startup 101 and On Investor for give us a chance to share about the startup project, UC Talent, the Web3 talent platform, where user can build a profile, grow the network, and own the future. The problem we are showing here is that the high-tech recruitment process is very inefficient. Sometimes there are a lot of applications for one good job. Sometimes there are thousands of recruitment trying to reach out the same candidate. So our solution is to have a strong user owner, privacy, and decentralized online talent ecosystem based on blockchain. With that solution, we can make every party job attract the right talent by itself through the referral reward for hiring company. In other terms, that we can say that anyone could be the headhunt, and any job for the future could be recruitment now. So let me give you a little bit about what the current high-tech recruitment process look like. It takes into several party hiring company, a job board like LinkedIn, Case, Resume, or 101 Job Bank, or maybe the headhunter service like Educo, MicroPay, and RoboWater, and also, of course, talent. And then it comes with a 7-step I draw in the slide. And usually, hiring company have to pay about 10 to 30% annual income to the headhunt serve it. Even the hiring company want to choose to do by themselves by putting the job into the job board linking or one-on-one job bank. They also take cost a lot of internal resource of HR and time consuming to get the right talent they want. So that's why the global IT recruitment market size is very big. It forecast in 2028 is $230 billion. So our solution is want to combine the headhunter and also the job board into the one so-called referral smart contract. With this, the hiring company can post and provide a referral reward into a smart contract. And on the way after they confirm the job offer to the right talent, they can, the smart contract itself, they can release the referral reward ultimately to the referral. And of course, the referral could be a talent, and they can apply by themselves or refer for other talent. This will have the hiring company cut a lot of cost and time. And of course, they will have the talent to earn a good amount of money because they cut out the middleman. This is a two sides of marketplace, and we focus on one by one first. For the talent, we will focus on blockchain and smart contract developer to attract them, and then for software engineer and other high-tech company. In the same way, in other side, for hiring company, we focus on Web3, blockchain, crypto, and then the software company in general, or maybe the high-tech company. Of course, for the geography, we also focus market by market, country by country. Vietnam, where we based, then Southeast Asia, then global, all of the Asian and global. So in point of view, customer, we are different with other one by two things. We focus on full-time talent platform, line linking, and other GitHub and AngelList, but we provide the user ownership where our user also the owner. They were the Web3 is mean that anyone can earn piece of something and earn a piece of UC talent platform. We do that with our business model and also the tokenomics, where on the service on the UC talent we pay by the token. It will be also used as a government token. We take 5% of transaction, for example, referral work at the platform fee. This is our revenue. And we reserve 50% for user incentive and platform. So to go to market, we have a strategy to build first a Web 2. We have in the Web 3 shop, plus with our loyalty program named UC Talent Pioneer Program to attract the talent first, to show the balance of chicken and egg, supply and demand. So we need the talent first. That is our go-to strategy. We already built out the MVP. This is the job board we already built out, where we can have on the job of Web3 to attract talent. And talent can also go to detail of job board. They can check out with all of that metadata correctly and exactly so they can apply and earn a decent money. To do that, we have a passion Web3 talent with diversity background from designer, marketing, product, and software development. And the key member here include today have our CTO, Hiếu Trần, with more than 11 years of software development and tech team building. I am acting as the CEO or founder with 12 years of tech startup company from like the first, the biggest classified site in Vietnam, and the second ride-hailing app in Vietnam. And also I acquired to take responsibility for the product strategy, HR, and finance. Luckily, I'm very happy to hear today because I have back 7 years ago, I have a Taiwan government scholarship, and right now, I love to hear and have answer from you. 谢谢你们听到我的介绍。
Okay, thank you. So we have a question about the user of the entire platform. So will it be like predominantly the engineers in the Web3, or there will be like all kinds of functions from the Web3 industry? Yeah. So the audience is curious about whether what is the user profile of your platform. So are the users are predominantly the engineers, or there will be like all kinds of different functions all within the Web3 ecosystem?
On function. and it's a high-tech talent to fulfill one of the software company or high-tech company. It could be the marketing, the product, and the design, or it could be, but of course, mainly that the developer, the software developer. And on the side, the software eating everything. So every company need to build software. This one on another way, but they still need that kind of talent. And our strategy, we will focus on the blockchain and smart contract within the Web3 and blockchain industry first. But then we will go broader into a software engineer because the big overlap between that one. Because if we want to have a Web3, we need the web first.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the sharing. And we will welcome our fourth startups.
Great. So first of all, thank you very much for having me. Very happy to be here to share a little bit about what we do. In a very, very simple nutshell, we let you lend more money to more people while reducing your non-performing loans and credit risks, especially to the underbanked and unbanked. We do this by redefining credit risk. We look at credit risk really as a willingness of somebody to repay, as well as a capability to repay. Just because somebody is earning $1 doesn't mean that a person will take that $1 and use it to repay a loan. A lot of that depends on their characteristics. Take, for example, if your bank or your financial institutions has two clients, both of them are named David. Both of them earns $500 a month. For $5,000 a month, both of them have 3 credit cards and they pay all the credit cards on time. In today's traditional credit scoring model, both of them will have an equals credit score of 75. Does that mean both of them are the same people? Most probably not. With technology today, we can tell a lot more about the people. For example, David 1 could be a hardworking person. His integrity scores are very high. He's highly likable and he is always punctual to work. He's always looking at ways to improve himself. David 2, if you look at his social media profiles, if you look at his integrity scores, could have 3 to 4 girlfriends, is almost never on time to work, and on his social media, everyone is screaming, please return me my money. 2 of them represent very, very different credit risks that today's credit score does not actually look at. We use AI, data analytics, behavioral science, and alternate data to actually create credit risk assessments that reflect both the willingness as well as the capability of a person to repay. We've now currently 2 main products, our individual risk assessment and our MSME risk assessment that takes a modular approach to credit scoring. We take a look at a whole variety of data in order to create profiles of a person that allow you to do credit risk assessment. This is an example of how a scorecard will look like looking at mobile phone and internet data and our more unique product, which is the voice analysis. With our voice analysis program, AI, basically by listening to 30 to 40 seconds of your voice, we're able to predict with a 72% accuracy your loan default probability. We take a look at contextual based personality types based on your voice biomarkers, like measuring how opportunistic you are, how cooperative you are, how open you are as a person, and all these measures have a very high statistical correlation to a person's loan default probability. How do we do that? We take basically we analyze your prosodic voice patterns. This is language independent. That means you can speak in Mandarin, you can speak in Vietnamese, you can speak in any language, and we take that to determine your personal speech patterns. This is linked to your typical behavioral tendencies, including how impulsive you are, how conscientious you are, how emotionally stable you are, and then we use that to predict your future behavior. In this case, we make a loan default probability calculator. Voice prosody is very, very unique. It doesn't take into account what you say. It doesn't take into account the language you're speaking it, but it's really behavioral speech analytics that is a new data source as language independent that can be used to profile people that hasn't been done before. Our results speak for ourselves. We are already in 18 financial institutions across 8 countries. We've across the board helped to reduce bad debts by 35 to 50% and increase system risk performance to 82 and 93%. Some of our use cases includes banks, microfinance companies that want to score farmers. Farmers, unfortunately, have no discernible way to profile them because they don't have financial data. We use our solution basically to help profile over 5 million farmers for the last 2 years to give them credit profiles for our banking clients. Wholesalers, suppliers also find it very difficult to extend credit to micro merchants because they do not know how to assess the risk profiles of these people. Again, our solution provides a very convenient matrix for measuring and extending credit to micro merchants. We have also other commercial applications. Over the last 2 years, people have been using our tool as a HR screening tool. A construction company in the Philippines use our technology to reduce churn in their company. And we have insurance as well as clients that use our health assessment tool to basically scan clients for mental illnesses as well as physical ailments. Our business model is very straightforward. We are pay to use or subscription. Our team is a very diverse team, from Hayek all the way to Paul, with many years of experience in the field. As I said, we have 16 clients across 8 countries. We're onboarding our 8 clients right now, and we've just signed on another 4 distributors. We are a HSBC Ventures invested company, and other VCs include SOSV, Vin Capital, and Artisan. Thank you. I'll be happy to take any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you, Vincent. So one of the questions would be we'd like to understand the pricing model for your business. How would you charge for your clients?
We charge for every assessment anywhere from 80 cents to $4, depending on what kind of assessment you're making, and depending on the volume of assessments that you have. And that's in US dollars, sorry.
Okay, got it. So there's another question about how you can enhance the training models that you are building in the earlier stage, because I believe there will be some, with more data that you have, you can potentially get a better accuracy. How would you make that improvement?
When we originally started in 2019 training the model, our accuracy was some 40+%. Right now we're about 72%. So it's significantly higher than the credit score with a 25% predictability. We are continuously improving the models. Last year we did 2.9 million credit profiles. This year we're doing close to 5.6 million. So we have millions of data. We are increasing our data sets as we go along, and we do hope to improve our accuracy as we go along over time.
Hey, thank you, Vincent, and thank you. And we will welcome our 5th group to present their slides.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, esteemed panelists, esteemed speaker, and also fellow participants. I'm very honored to be present today in here. I'm Yawin, and I'm co-founder and CEO at FinScore. Let me introduce Rico, one of my co-founder. Prior to building this startup, he's a credit analyst. In order to assess credit worthiness of the borrower, he need to go through hundreds of bank statements that contain thousands of transactions. And yet, the decision whether the borrower is eligible for loan or not is on him. Let me walk through you a bit of what Rico do back there as a credit analyst. So it's very interesting. My previous presentation is also something like credit, right? So basically, there's 2 pillars in credit analysis. The first pillar, which is gray one, is to understand the willingness to pay, while the blue one is to understand the capacity to pay. The first pillar have already solved by many players. In Indonesia, there's a player such as Pevindo, also Scoref, and many others. While the blue one still in blue ocean. However, this process took so long. Even in fact, 80% of the process is wasted on the bank statement analysis. Fortunately and unfortunately, when I asked around, my peers Rico is not around. Even this manual process exists start from Rico director generation up to his generation. This process is there for at least 30 years. And also, bank statement is very prone to fraud. So, FinScore exists to change the SME credit process work. By automating the bank statement analysis, we can reduce 2 until 5 day works to 1 minute. We also can produce a similar result to what a credit analyst will do, removing the non-business transaction and also check the revenue, cost of sale, and also the cash availability. Also, we equip the tools with fraud detection, which can detect suspicious transaction and also whether the bank statement file have been tampered or not. Also, this can lead to reducing the non-performing loan cost. Yeah, our solution to SME credit underwriting is vital. Our solution can analyze 45 times faster and also have saved around $600,000 on non-performing loan cost, and also can increase 200% by revenue. Other than testimony, we also have gained several traction from several clients. With only 5 months since FinScore form, we have shown a positive result. Currently we have 3 clients that are already on board with us, and also 3 clients that still on discussion with us. With our current pipeline and client, we can raise around potential ARR of $10 million. I know you all are excited about the market size, right? So FinScore is a niche market with a big opportunity. In Indonesia, there's around 35,000 of financial institutions, and we are targeted to achieve $100 million with a single solution in Indonesia. Not to mention that when we expand to Southeast Asia. So when I say big opportunity, I'm not kidding. So there's a company named Perfios that already achieved unicorn. We have tried Perfios, and actually it doesn't fulfill 100% of what a credit analyst will need. And also it doesn't really understand Indonesia industry behavior looks like. Despite of that, we aim to become a Perfios for Southeast Asia. So this is how FinScore will achieve the goal. The groundbreaking part is split into 3 phases. The first phase is we are trying to provide a descriptive analysis, and also the phase 2 we will provide a solution to how we can provide the prescriptive analysis, and then the last one is how we can provide the predictive analysis. This will only happen with this team, which in total have 40 years of experience in financial industry, and also with the help from 2 great advisors. The first one is Stanis, who have successfully building startup, and then the second one is Anton Chen, who have experience in banking industry for 16 years. FinScore is also seeking for a strategic partner and also raising fund for $500,000 for 10 until 15%. This fund we use to 60% of the fund of the proceeds will be used to product development and grow our customer base. Yeah, I think that's pretty much our vision. And thank you, and join us to transform Indonesia lending industry.
Okay, thank you. So we have one of the question for about the competition. So would you mind to expand a bit more about your competitive advantage over the other companies?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. Thank you for the question. For the competition itself, it's actually the one that head to head with us is Perfios, and the other one is actually focusing on the credit check, which is the willingness to pay. So we diversified ourselves that we focusing on how we can understand the capacity to pay, which is by analyzing the bank statement analysis. So that's how we will differentiate ourselves. And how we can compete with Perfios is actually in Indonesia, there's 100 of format of the bank statement that exists in Indonesia, and we are currently building the algorithm on how we can recognize all of the format of the bank statement in Indonesia. Yeah, that's how we will aim to compete with our competitor.
Okay, so thank you for your answer, and let's welcome the next team.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Leonard. I'm the founder and CEO of Analytics, and today I'll be sharing about our AI-powered solution for operations monitoring for safety and productivity. So this is actually a common sight, not only in Singapore, but a lot of constructions around the world. There are CCTVs, but there are also manual people being deployed to manually monitor all these CCTVs, which is an almost impossible task. Not to mention it's not effective as well. And the question we always ask is, do they really know what is happening at their construction sites, especially when no one is really looking, right? We see all these hazards and unsafe acts almost on a day-to-day or weekly basis. The problem with construction being one of the largest industries in the world, yet still one of the most dangerous and inefficient industries out there. All this results in almost $2.8 trillion of value being lost due to operational lapses and safety issues. All this because monitoring of construction operations are tedious, costly, and prone to human errors. But this is not only unique to construction, it's also very prominent in several other heavy industries. And the way we are trying to help end users and customers alleviate some of these problems is by tapping into any existing camera at the site, or we can deploy new cameras if needed, to analyze the entire monitoring of the operations in real time, and will send insights to the mobile phone as well as the web dashboard for any things that are found. And what we cover is really across the whole suite, right? So all the way from safety, progress, productivity, and security. We have more than 20 plus preview AI models to handle all these different scenarios. And video analytics itself is not new, right? We have all seen facial recognition, license plate detection, cancer detection, people counting. But in order to operate in such an environment like construction that is very dynamic, very harsh, outdoors, objects are extremely small, we need the next generation of video analytics, and that's what we have done. Beyond just AI models, we need a lot of software engineering to handle these low-spec environments, convert 2D to 3D scenes without multiple cameras or sensors. So end users such as the safety teams then leverage on these real-time insights to form feedback loops with the subcontractors and the workers themselves. This has helped them to streamline their operations, help them to detect a lot more hazards, be more efficient, and round-the-clock monitoring as well. All this really in efforts to ultimately improve and change the operational culture at the site for the better. We have 4 key advantages against any other video analytics vendor out there. The first is our data set. We have the largest construction data set in Singapore, which is also quite scalable to any other country, including Taiwan. We can actually convert 2D scenes to 3D without any sensors or multiple cameras. That allows us to do more complex use cases while still having a very high accuracy. On top of that, we can operate in very low resolution, long range outdoor conditions, as well as have many parameters for end users to configure the specific scenarios that they want to capture, whether it's the radius around the machinery or the number of seconds the workers are standing in unsafe acts or unsafe zones before alerting. We do have competitors, and our main one being based in Hong Kong by Act. They have more use cases and they have more data for sure because they are around for more than 3x longer than us. But because of our core technology of being very efficient, long range detection and 2D to 3D, we can actually do a lot more complex use cases. So the market for video analytics has always been relatively large, but in construction it's still very new. I would say only about 3 to 4 years ago, we really start to pick up. Our focus is really on the Asia market and to the right, because half of the world's construction will be in Asia in 2025. We have 2 pricing models, one subscription and one licensing, depending on whether the project is more of a short-term basis or more flexible or requires a more flexible kind of arrangement. And for licensing, it's more for long-term projects or fixed installations like warehouses or indoor facilities. So we have 3x our year-over-year growth. We started in 2021 and had 3x since then year-over-year. We are almost close to break even this year, but ultimately where we want to scale is really to the Hong Kong region, the Taiwan region, as well as the Middle East region in our short-term plans. But ultimately what we want to do is to be the video analytics vendor of choice in all industrial sectors. The team is led by myself and my co-founder Pratik, and we both have more than 30 plus years of experience in AI research, as well as leading and developing large-scale software development teams and products. So we are a little bit over 2 years old now, but prior to starting, we did have 2 years of research and development with one of the largest residential developers in Singapore. We currently have 38 deployments across Singapore and in Hong Kong, and secured more than 1 million in signed contract value across construction, military, and manufacturing.
1 minute left.
So we are looking to raise 2 million to really fuel our growth for expansion, not only into other markets, but also other industries. Beyond that, we are also looking to start integrating with a lot of best-in-class software, whether it's construction productivity software, drones, robots, to ensure a more end-to-end solution together with other partners, ultimately to increase customer stickiness as well. So with that, we hope to revolutionize the way industrial operations are monitored, make video analytics a lot more accessible to any customers of any size rather than just the big boys. And yeah, I'm open to Q&A now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So there's one question about your business model. So how would you consider your solutions would be standardized? So in other words, how many customizations might be required for different kind of use case?
Okay, a good question. So when we train the AI model and we build use cases around it, we always do it from the first principles, right? So if we think about any video analytics use case, they all boil down to a few things: detection, tracking, timers, region, color. So when we detect, let's say, for example, an excavator or a lorry or a crane, we make sure that we fine-tune the AI to recognize the shape and the textures. That's why whenever we deploy in a new construction site, or let's say we deploy even in our Hong Kong very first project, our fine-tuning period actually took less than 2 weeks because we all have these components ready. So we also apply a lot of data augmentation techniques to actually train a very good AI model with less amount of data. So for example, if we have one image, it actually automatically becomes 25 images through a distortion, tilt, changing of color, augmenting of the shape, so that the AI model learns more robustly. So it's easier to scale that way across any use case or any industry.
Okay, thank you for your sharing. And let's welcome our next team.
All right, hi guys, my name is Ren. So I'm building a company called gowaji.ai. We're building foundational speech model right now only for Thai, but we do things from speech to text, text to speech, and also other speech related tasks. We're basically a lab spin-off from Thailand's #1 university. And I'm happy to talk to you guys about this, right? Cool. So the problem that we're trying to solve right now is the speech recognition problem. Generally speaking, for any non-English languages, the problem is actually not solved, right? So there's a recent study saying that around most of the non-English language, the accuracy for speech to text is around 50 to 85%, on average around 70%, which is mostly unusable. It generally have to be above 90% to make it usable for a lot of industrial applications, right? The second problem is that most of the models are actually very big and also like GPU based, so which renders the applications to be very, very slow. One example is that 1 second of audio, it takes around 7.5 seconds to transcribe it, which is like unusable for real-time application. The third problem is actually on the cost side of things. It costs around like $8 to $34 to transcribe around 8 hours of audio, which is generally like 3.4 times the minimum wage in Thailand or Southeast Asia in general. So big problem. Oh, I don't know why my slides is weird. It's probably some error, but essentially our model actually is able to. I'm just going to speak through it, right? Because I don't know why my slide's not working, but essentially our model have around like 96% accuracy for Thai language in general. And that's like best in the industry right now, mainly because we're a lab spin-off and we've been working on it for a very, very long time. The second aspect that we're better than other people is from the speed categories, right? So we compare ourselves with OpenAI's Whisper model. OpenAI's Whisper model takes around 7.5 seconds to transcribe 1 second of audios. And for us, it takes 0.17 seconds, which is around like 44 times faster, right? And the third aspect is that we have a, comparing ourselves in a cost perspective, we're around 65 times cheaper than Google. For Google, it takes around 11.5 USD to transcribe 8 hours of audio. It takes us 0.17, right? So like it's significantly cheaper. And the reason we're able to do these things is because of these 3 things that you see on the screen right now. Number one, we've been researching these fundamental foundational model for speech since 2016, right? So we have around like 18 papers published in world-class conferences. We also have some patents in generative voice, right? The second one is in terms of like optimization. So we actually beaten Google's speech-to-text API since 2018. And over the years, we actually optimize it and try to condense the model to be more efficient and being able to basically 10x the efficiency, right? The third thing is we actually have our own proprietary data as well, which costs around like 500K. And that allows us to build like a database of 5,000 hours of private data compared to around 170 hours of publicly available data, which is also, a moat for us, right? This is our team. So the team is built by 3 founders. So my background is actually in AI as well. So I have a master's in computer vision from Oxford, and then a second master in machine learning from UCL. And I also built 2 previous companies, one in computer vision, Thailand-based computer vision startups, and a second company in the blockchain space with around 30 million in GMV, right? So this is my 3rd company. And we also partner with Dr. Ekapol, which is our resident chief scientist. He went to CMU for his undergrad and PhD in speech recognition from MIT. He's currently a professor at Thailand's #1 university, and he's been working on speech research for 15 years already. We also have a CTO who's helping and handling most of the engineering works in addition to the modeling side of things. So this is basically what our plans are doing. So we're building a platform for voice-related tasks. Right now, we already have the API and also the SDK. Our plan is to raise this round to basically build a front-end, back-end, also product side of things to build on top of our already very mature model. So in addition to the speech-to-text model, we also do text-to-speech, so like voice generation. We can do like custom voice and also voice biometrics, which is basically kind of like face recognition, but for voice, right? And we also do things like emotion detection, and we also collaborate with like hospitals for what's it called, depression detection as well. So this is our early attractions. We've been live for like 3 months, but the lab has been around since 2016, like I mentioned earlier. So far, we have around like 16 projects in the pipeline and 3 already converted. Most of the industries are in telco, banking, insurance, and mostly on the voice side of things, the call side of things. Lots of use cases in the work right now, including automations, transcription, even have like outbound voice bot like debt collections, right? So use case is very vast, and we're essentially like the foundational model layer that allows other people or even ourselves to build additional voice-based interactions applications, right? So the market that we're targeting essentially is Southeast Asia. So right now we only do Thai, but I think like generally speaking, Southeast Asia is the market that we wanted to focus on. Because I think the potential is very huge, and sticking in one country, I think like is very high leverage, but Southeast Asia in general is just much larger market, right? But we're starting for current round, we're only starting with Thailand, but after that, for Series A afterwards, we're expanding to a few other countries. We're raising a 1.2 seed round right now, essentially just to build on top of our already mature AI model. And most of the money will go to funding the talent pool, hiring a sales team and also a product team. Some money will be spent on data and operation, and also some for GPUs, basically. Our target is to reach around 1.5 M ARR in a couple of years. That's when we're planning to expand to other regions. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you guys for listening, and feel free to shoot me an email if this is something that you want to learn more about. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Ren. So there's one question about the priority of the application of your technology. So as you mentioned, there's a vast application and use case, and how would you prioritize that over, like, for example, for specific industry or any specific use cases?
So we look at ROI. So how hard it is to build it, how hard it is to go to market versus how big the market is. And right now, our first 3 target is number 1, meaning transcription, mainly because it's very easy to build for us because we have the model already. Number 2 is inbound call center automations because the ROI is very clear for the customers. It basically replaces human with artificial intelligence. And number 3 is actually outbound call centers. So instead of like receiving calls, we actually do call actively, right? So you can do things like pre-screening for sales, messaging them or calling them for things like your parcels development, like where it is right now, touching base on if you have a credit card debt you want to pay, these kind of stuff. So these 3 things are our main focus right now.
Okay, thank you, Ren, for the sharing, and let's welcome our next team, and they'll be ready shortly.
Hi, it's JJ Lu, co-founder of SiteTour. We help to eliminate human document processing through the AI technology. we're not only saving time and money, also we're saving a lot enormous paper usage, which is contributional to ESG. 99% of our competitors, they are delivering through public cloud, which we have that too. But the biggest differentiation is we actually it's a decentralized delivery, so we can install in any hardware that customer demand. For example, like kiosk, private cloud, or even like mini PC. And also the second differentiation is we are the only one on-premise automatic machine learning, and that's being practiced in the governments and the financial sectors in Taiwan and other countries. And also we have a very, very high accuracy. That's what most people concern, and as high as 99% character recognition. And also this high accuracy is delivered through the no-code platform. So within 10 minutes, people who don't have a technical background can train a document model with our no-code platform called Anyform. Actually, character recognition is a matter of a singular choice. So English 26, 1 out of 26 alphabets. Chinese is the most difficult or complicated language in the world, and is 1 out of 14,000 characters. And probably the second complicated language is Thai. They are about 60, and we have conquered them all. So our language cover about 2.2 billion population, and now it is increasing. And we have replaced hundreds of jobs in 3 main industries. One is insurance, including property and the life. A second one is the accounting industry in terms of bookkeeping. Those repetitive words, they are replaced by our technologies. And the third one is the logistics, same as accounting, bookkeeping. So for the forwarding paperwork, those are already replaced by our solutions. And we are the most generous partner. We are the most generous software company to partners, including vendors. So we shared about 25 to 50% our revenues with our distribution partner. So it's a partner dependency strategy. So far, we have a very strong partner in Ho Chi Minh, who has access to VNPT, FPT, and VTEL. And another one in the capital city, Hanoi, we are going to have a venture capital. And now we are going to find a partner in Thailand, which through the Minister of Oil and Energy, that we have a connection. And the next step is we will get another couple partners in Malaysia. So far, we are looking at in the 12 months to come through the SI partners in Taiwan, we are going to generate about 300K and also 600K through accounting and logistics software. And also we are already have some footprints in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, and Bangkok. So in the 24 months to come, the company will grow to 2.3 million. Fortunately, 65% still come from Taiwan, that we will want to reduce that. And also in the for the joint venture from the US will generate about 300K. So Bangkok will increase to 300K as long as the Hanoi and the Ho Chi Minh City. So by the year of 24 to 25, the company will grow to about $4.4 million, and the revenue from Taiwan will be down to about 45%. That's the number that we really want to look at. So the joint venture will grow further in the United States. Also, we will generate new revenues from Malaysia and Indonesia. And as we observe, those are a lot of unicorn companies in Indonesia that we will partner with. So we will, well, at the end, I think they don't necessarily to do the repetitive work. Actually, they should spend their time, quality time on analytics, consulting, creativity, and problem solving. Thank you. That's my presentation.
So there is a question from the audience about why would you take the approach for such a high percentage of revenue sharing in your business model? Could you explain a little bit more about why or the thought process of that decisions? Thank you.
That is a great question. If we are talking about a country who has a very low IT transformation, there's no ground for AI. Actually, we are standing at a countries or environment who has a mature technology. For example, they have a ERP, accounting, CRM, or many other software, or even like mobile apps. But still, people, they retrieve documents from PDF file or JPEG file, and they try to transform the documents into data. That is the last mile of a sophisticated technology. So we don't really go to like a rural area who doesn't have a computer. Instead, we go to like more modern industries like insurance or accounting. You know, you can imagine with seconds, they can transform the data into the ERP, but actually spend hours. For accounting, about 3 hours. Logistics, about 2 to 2.5 hours for the typing. You know, it's really, really time wasting. So actually, we share a lot of profits with our two kinds of partner. One is software like ERP, accounting, or logistics, and the other partner is a system integrator or so-called VAR, value-added reseller. And those partners, they will find those companies who already have a technology, but the shortage is the document process. There's still a lot of human work.
Okay, thank you for the answer. And actually, SciTour is one of the good friends of Startup 101. Actually, JJ was in Ho Chi Minh City with our CEO, Kemi Liu, just really recently. And that actually concludes our Startup Pitch session. So thank you all for coming here, and our events conclude here. And feel free to mingle and to interact with everyone here. And if you are interested in any particular startups or any of the panelists today, feel free to contact us in Star 101, and we can help connect you guys together. Okay. Thank you all for coming today, and thank you all for being online with us. And yeah, thank you.